All right, y'all, we're gonna check out this boudoir photographer. Gonna see if their local search and their city search, if they got BSS for either of those searches. We only got one search for them today. So we're back here in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that, pin video, whatever, home video, somewhere around here. This is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So over on the left here, we got the highest intent peeps, in the white here. The highest intent peeps. These are the Google searchers, the social searchers. They're searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city. So when they're doing that in their city, that's closest to the money, fastest conversions, and that's what we want. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, which people who are not searching for boudoir photography right now, or boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, and most of the time have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. And we deal with that with our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. But over here, we talk about BSS, and all right, so let's see what that is. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. This is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 is terrible, that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of all Google searches never even hit page 2. So page 1 only searches, and as a result, if we're on page 2, we're invisible and our business will be failing pretty fast. Also, if we only got 1 slot on page 1, there's 10 organic slots on page 1. If we got 1 of them, guess what? We're being compared. A buyer, they're just going to click through everyone. Since we all look the same, we all got 1 link. A buyer simply going to be clicking through everyone on page 1, and approximately 80% chance they never even go to page 2. And so their filling everyone's contact form and price shopping everyone, negotiating, getting the best deal possible for themselves, and it's really a race to the bottom at that point. So boudoir search chain is bad. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's accepted, it's common, but it's not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are 1, market saturation, which basically everyone knows about. People get new gear, new iPhone, new camera, and they're throwing up their Google Maps profile saying they're shoot boudoir. They're shooting, throw up their websites saying they shoot boudoir, and also, posting in the Mon groups saying they shoot boudoir. So market saturation, more sellers for the same number of buyers makes it harder for every single seller. That's the basis of it. Now, the second one, which basically nobody knows about, is the false belief of page 1 equality. So page 1 equality was something that's kind of always been accepted, kind of automatically without people think about it. It's, just assume and accepting, every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And as a result, maybe I was on page 1, and someone else came and ranked above. Okay, it pushed me down to page 2, but that's what happens. That's the game, and I gotta hope they delete their website and Google stops indexing them so hopefully Google picks me to go back on page 1. Nope, 100% incorrect. It's a false belief, because what I've learned is that Google will actually give as many page 1 slots to the business that wants them and puts in the work to acquire them, puts in the effort to acquire them. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google to 9 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google in only 10 days because I wanted them. So I wanted those slots, so put in the effort to take those slots. So now we actually have a case study showing that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. Next, we know that boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So, if we're on page, if we're got 0 slots on page 1, obviously we're disappearing because we're on page 2 or deeper, and approximately 80% of the market will never even see us. And if we got 1 slot on page 1, we're essentially invisible, being price shopped to death. Just really spinning our wheels, wasting our time, so disappearing as well. And it's kind of the canary in the coal mine, the warning light, warning light on our dashboard check engine light saying, hey, you're disappearing. And that means the boudoir photography business is also on a path to disappearing. So this is, that's why we like, the local search and the city search, so we can see kind of what path is our boudoir photography business on. But now, thankfully, finally, thank the universe, we now have a solution. We have figured out that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search, search on social media sites with the highest intent keywords, and we show up there, take as many slots as possible, and that's this kind of like it's like the backside of the Andes down in South America, where the snow is melting, goes into small streams, small rivers, and eventually it all collects into the large Amazon River. The Amazon River is page one on Google, so we basically got to kind of seed our Amazon River way at the top of the Andes with our social search saturation. And this is the only solution for boudoir photographers that I've seen that can actually successfully still enable a business to grow, have the possibility of growing in the face of more and more and more market saturation in a relatively quick time frame. The only other second option that exists is brand, building a massive known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years. AI's here taking people's jobs, forcing more people to become boudoir photographers because everyone's got a camera or a smartphone with awesome cameras, and people still need to earn money even though AI is taking their jobs. So we ain't got 5 to 10 years to make a brand. So SQ methodology kind of allows us to shortcut that a little bit. Well, at least by getting, on page one of Google. And by my estimates, it actually enables a brand to actually grow a brand at, my estimate is 8x as fast. Kind of 8x speeded up. That's an estimate though, just because it'll be on so many surfaces, just for passive, content, kind of consumption on social media, but will be dominated on surfaces for social search and Google search. So my estimate is it'll speed up brand building 8x. And imagine got a well-known brand and you're still executing SQ methodology to make sure nobody in your city can ever touch you. I mean, it's ultra powerful. Now, here's an example of SQ methodology kind of enabling a business to still grow in the face of massive competition. Imagine we got a million boudoir photographers in Denver, Colorado. Denver, Colorado, aka Denver. And we're one of them. We got, everyone's got their websites and they do boudoir photo shoots. Everyone's trying to rank page one on Google. And we're like, all right, to compete here, the only solution we got here is S-cubed methodology. So we crank that up to the max. And let's say we saturate the first, 300 slots on page one of Google, or no, first 300 slots for the highest intent keywords across all social search. So now everyone, any time a boudoir buyer searching those high intent keywords on social search, we pop up. Then that flows onto Google, and let's say we got the first 300 slots on Google. There's 10 organic slots per page, so we're taking up the first 30 pages on Google. And basically, none of our competitors are being seen until, someone scrolls down to the 301st position or, goes to page 31 on Google organic search. Then, if we're basically the only one peeps can find, they keep seeing us, they keep seeing us, they keep seeing us. Then it's basically inevitable. We're going to be the only ones growing, and all the other boudoir photographers are going to be shrinking, disappearing, going out of business, going invisible. So, yeah, SQ methodology is the only solution I've seen that allows boudoir photographers to, gives them a chance to continue to grow in the face of massive market saturation. Now, once treated with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility and kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. So it's kind of a secondary, second initial benefit. First initial benefit, obviously, we're getting more slots page one on Google. Second initial benefit is we're actually kicking our competitors off of Google in our city and making them essentially invisible, becoming disappear, and making their business eventually disappear. Because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never hit page two. They're page one only searches. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So for this, the GBC universe recommends a minimum of 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google. That's because if everyone else got one slot, we got 3, we're dominating them. And the off chance, the super rare chance someone has 2, which is ultra rare, we're still dominating them. So we're basically dominating everyone in all scenarios. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got our micro universe here, a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Thankfully, yes, thank the universe, we do finally have a solution, S-cubed methodology, that we achieve page 1 visibility and become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, so now onto my results using S-cubed methodology. I wanted to dominate the keyword for BLCS boudoir, and I exclusively used S-cubed methodology to get these current results. So we do this for organic search, obviously. It's for ranking in organic search. Let's go to the organic slots. So we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days, purely using S-cubed methodology. All right, main event here. Gonna see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local and city search, but it looks like they got one search here. So we're combining the local and city. We're also gonna see if they hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google search. All right, so DeLand, Florida. All right, so, all right, we're here. All right, we got one slot. And yeah, one slot. Two slots, okay. That boudoir's in kind of the body text, smaller. But all right, we'll give you two slots here. All right, so we got 2 out of 10 slots, so good. So we do not have BSS, boudoir search sameness. We got 2 out of 10 slots, but we did not hit the recommended GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots in our search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've done a local search for yourself, high intent keyword, as a buyer, saying you got BSS there, or you've done it at the city search, you may have BSS there, or you've seen for either of those, you're not meeting the GBC recommended of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And you're seeing the S-cubed methodology is finally your one way to solve that. Then you're also taking into account the false belief of page 1 inequality. Yeah, it's false. That Google wants to give us as many page 1 slots as we want to take and want to put in the effort to acquire. So S-cubed methodology is the path forward. And you understand market saturation, the 2 prongs, people getting new iPhones, people getting new cameras. And you like the initial benefits of S-cubed methodology, get more slots on page 1, and also kicking competitors off page 1, so you're on page 2 where you're basically never going to be price shopped against them. And you're liking all that. And with regards to market saturation, you're looking at, you've seen AI, it's going to be taking more and more people's jobs. And as that happens, you know more and more boudoir photographers are actually going to come flooding into the market. And as more and more boudoir photographers flood into the market, they're actually going to increase the supply. And as we increase the supply of boudoir photographers, going to be harder to compete page 1, lowering the basically more supply, lower demand of page 1. And as a result, you realize you got to kind of fortify page 1 against a new future big rush of boudoir photographers. So as you're doing that, well, you're saying, okay, S-cubed methodology is the only thing available to do that as well. And so you're liking all that. And you're also understanding that when we do S-cubed methodology, we're actually kind of building kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns. And as we build these invisible thematic keyword columns, what's happening is they're kind of like, columns of the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, or kind of like, hub and spoke kind of spokes attached, to our business hub. And what actually happens is we're increasing the mind share of the back end, the kind of the AI mind share. And every day we successfully do, we're going to higher and higher probability that we're going to rank here in the AI overview on Google. And we're also increasing the probability that we get recommended AI search as well. So this AI overview is really you know, basically a kind of a premium placement. But AI search, dude, AI search is awesome as well because more and more people are using AI search every single day. Um, and so this kind of invisible momentum building up in the background, and you recognize, man, this will also help you build a brand approximately 8x faster. Kind of all these benefits combined, kind of we're just showing up way more on everyone um, over time. And you're recognizing that it's better to, you decided you want to be a first mover on this because if you actually hop into this with your, you know, and you exclude all your competitors from using this, because my plan is to only work with this with one boudoir photographer in a city, then what actually happens is you're building up all this initial benefits and future benefits of making massive strides, massive progress against your competitors, kind of putting a big gap between you and them. As you put a big gap between you and them, it becomes harder and harder for them to ever catch up. And conversely, if someone else, some other competitor in your city, came with you first, or came with me first, um, and we're able to build a massive gap on you, get all those, initial benefits. What actually happens is you'd have to rederive SQ'd methodology on your own. You would not know if you've successfully rederived it 100% correctly or not. So then you'd actually have to go and run SQ'd methodology on your own and match our output to then kind of maintain the gap between your competitor and you. And you would have to, you'd actually have to then actually exceed our output to kind of catch us and close that gap. So you decide, screw that. You'd rather be you decide you're going to be the first mover and not have to deal with kind of someone overtaking your spots. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. Um, Hospital is currently closed for new patients, but when we do open slots for new patients in the future, yeah, shoot a DM and we'll see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.